That sounds really cool. One of the things that we've seen here at BlizzCon is that for the first time you've shown some elements of the single-player campaign. Now, there's two schools of thought when it comes to single-player campaign. Some RTS developers believe that the single-player campaign should be kind of a training ground for multiplayer. Others believe that the single-player campaign should be its own separate experience. Where does Blizzard, in particular StarCraft 2, fall on this debate, and how has that influenced the design of the single-player campaign?
I absolutely feel that the single-player experience should be a great experience in its own right. And certainly for this game, we're definitely viewing it as much less of a training ground for the multiplayer experience. Single-player is definitely a game that you will play and hopefully enjoy several times over playing through the gameplay experience. So we're definitely focused on bringing a really epic single-player experience, and we're pouring a lot of resources into this, as you may have seen in our demo here at BlizzCon. There's lots of different ways you can play through this campaign. The player now has the choice over which missions he would like to play next, the types of technologies he may want to bring to the battlefield. The other thing that we're doing with a single-player campaign that I'm very excited about is when we said we're having a very racially diverse game in the multiplayer experience, now we're doing the same thing in the solo-player experience, right? The core mechanics of the Terran solo-play campaign is Raynor is a mercenary pirate criminal who commands an assorted group of mercenaries, freedom fighters, and other scum from Terran space in his quest across the stars, and he collects money that he takes from people for doing jobs for them, and then he spends these on illegal technology bought in from the black market. This is obviously not the same gameplay that's going to exist for the Zerg or for the Protoss. The Zerg will have their own problems to deal with. The Protoss will have their own problems to deal with. And as a result, they'll have their own game mechanics that push them towards taking different types of missions. So while previously the campaigns were fairly similar in their approach, now in StarCraft 2, racial diversity now is also core to the solo play experience.
Warcraft 3 multiplayer, fairly soon after the game launched, became pretty brutal for newbies. I mean, you would go online and you would get killed fairly fast. Now that we've had some hands-on time, one of the elements of StarCraft 2 is that because so much of the strategy is sort of devolved down to the unit level, there is, even on a moderately skilled player, some measure of micromanagement needed to be decent at the game. Therefore, what kinds of things are you introducing to make both the game and the multiplayer aspects friendly to new people?
So the real key for any real-time strategy game, but especially a game like StarCraft 2, is that you're playing against somebody of equal skill level. If you're playing somebody at your skill level, it doesn't matter if you're both noobs or you're both pro players. It's fun. It's fun to play, and it's even fun to watch those people play, no matter what your skill level is. So one of our goals for Battle.net will absolutely be to try to find ways to make sure that you're always playing against players that are of comparable skill level. And then I think you'll have fun no matter what. But yeah, if you get out of your league, you're going to get in trouble, and that's all there is to it. I can't save you from that. All I can try to do is make absolutely sure that you get into a game with people who are similar to your skill, and then I think you'll have a great time.
I think one of the really interesting things at BlizzCon is that people finally got a few answers regarding some of the characters that they've come to really love from StarCraft 2. We know that Kerrigan is coming back. We know that Jim Raynor is coming back. We know that Zeratul is coming back, in that we saw him bleeding on the floor. So, what I wanted to ask is, within Blizzard, is there one person who kind of handles and controls the StarCraft lore? Or is it a collaborative effort? And whichever way it is, how do you decide, out of all the potential ideas, where you want to take this universe?
Well, I mean, to be fair, it's kind of both. We have Chris Metzen, who is absolutely sort of the heart and soul of our lore, and who knows all of our lore and keeps a watch over it, and absolutely sort of drives that part of our gameplay experience. At the same time, he's got a team of people who also help him with it, who work on story ideas and submit them to him and move the thing forward. And everybody on the team, like everything to do with Blizzard game design and Blizzard product development, has some input with these guys. So if there's a character I want to see back, I can absolutely go to Chris and say, hey, I really want to see this character make it back into the mix, or hey, I really don't like what you're doing with Zeratul, or whatever it is, right? So Chris Metzen is absolutely the guy who sort of manages our lore and makes sure that we're going in a really great direction with each game. But at the same time, of course, the team has a lot of input.
Dustin, I wanted to thank you so much for taking time out of, I'm sure, what's a very busy schedule here at BlizzCon. The game looks terrific, and I hope you have a great rest of the show.